I think it's about time that Mario Kart changes things up. I'm talking big changes.
What a twist!
Not only is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe already over 7 years old itself, it's based on a game that's over 10 years old. For the first time ever, we've gone an entire decade and Nintendo console generation without a brand new Mario Kart. And that's pretty clearly driving me crazy, especially with how similar Mario Kart 8 already felt to Mario Kart 7, making the gameplay feel even more tired.
Pun intended.
So I've got some ideas for how Nintendo can shake up the next Mario Kart for Switch 2, including new mechanics, items, track elements, and plenty more. I have some wild ideas, but I don't think my first one's much of a leap. How is it that you can't jump in a game that's based on a series that's literally all about jumping? And no, these sad little hops don't count. And it's especially weird considering you actually could jump in the very first Super Mario Kart game, thanks to the feather item. And then never again.
No jump for you!
And having the ability to jump not only opened up some crazy cool corner cuts, but even some otherwise impossible to reach shortcuts too. So I think it's finally time that Mario Kart brings jumping into the 3D games. But this time as a core ability they can pull off whenever you want to, without needing a particular item. Hell, other kart racers have already shown that it's possible, like Disney Speedstorm. And I think Mario Kart could absolutely kick it up a few notches, allowing for far more interesting and riskier track designs and shortcuts, such as by having sections that require multiple hops like a true platformer. It would also open up a brand new way, or really the only way, of dodging incoming items without being forced to block them with one of your own, which would add another layer of skill to the game. But to prevent those annoying jump spammers and to add some extra finesse, I would propose making the jump something you have to charge up first, like say for a second or two, in order to reach a maximum height and distance. So after all of this, I only have one more thing to say.
It's time to jump up in the air. Jump up, don't be scared. Jump up and your cares will soar away.
If you want to win in Mario Kart, you need to play defensively. And you absolutely should treat your internet usage the same way, by proactively guarding yourself against those looking to cause trouble, like hackers or data thieves. And that's where our sponsor, Surfshark, can help. Surfshark is a VPN that shields your online connection from the very worst people that the internet has to offer. Think of it this way. If online troublemakers were a blue shell, then Surfshark is a super horn. And let me tell you, as one who had my YouTube channel hacked just a few months ago, I'm now all about protecting myself however I can. And if you want to protect yourself too, make sure to use our custom link, surfshark.com/GameXplain. And let me just say that, as one who recently started using various VPNs, I found Surfshark to be a total breeze to set up. And it offers other great benefits too, like being able to access your favorite websites from anywhere in the world, without worrying about being locked out of the content that you want to enjoy. Plus, Surfshark can protect you on an unlimited amount of devices, whether it's your computer, smartphone, or tablet, all at the same great price. And you might want to explore their other products too, like Surfshark Antivirus to make sure you're even more protected. And right now is a great time to give Surfshark a try, because if you use our custom link, surfshark.com/GameXplain, not only will you get an extra 4 months for free, but they're also running a special holiday deal right now through January 1st that reduces the price even more. This kind of deal doesn't come around very often, so make sure to visit surfshark.com/GameXplain to upgrade your online experience at an amazing price. I'm sorry, but this is just boring. Whenever I reach a gliding section in Mario Kart 8, I mentally check out because it's just so rizless.
How do you do, fellow kids?
It's so slow and your movement is extremely limited with how you mostly glide in a straight line. It is just so
Boring.
But I think we can fix this with a few tweaks. First, we gotta address the slow speed. So let's ditch the glider and slap on a propeller or hell, maybe even a jet engine for some proper powered flight, which will not only help mitigate the slow feel, but also ensure that you won't ever run out momentum. Second, we gotta extend the flying section so they feel like an actual part of the race, and not just a weird quick transition between areas. Third, you're going to need more control to make it more interesting. So instead of being locked into a tight corridor like Star Fox, you should have free range of your flight path. But there's some limits in place to make sure you can't just skip the entire thing, such as by having mid-air checkpoints or a gas meter of some kind to ensure you can't go too far off the path. Also, you gotta be able to power slide in the air too like you can everywhere else in this game. Hey, if it worked in Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, it can work in Mario Kart too. Plus, by making flying more of a core element of Mario Kart, it opens the door to even more unique track designs. Hey, maybe we can finally get a proper Star Fox crossover. Or maybe Kid Icarus Uprising. The sky is literally the limit. Let's be real, thanks to the booster course passes 5,000 tracks or whatever, there is no chance in hell Nintendo will ever be able to match that number of tracks in the Mario Kart ever again. So I think it's about time that Nintendo looks to do more with less. And by that I mean adding variable elements to each track so they aren't always the same static version. So what if every track had one or two alternate forms? A little bit like the Animal Crossing track, which had one for each season. These variants could take place at different times of day or in different weather conditions like rain or snow, or there could even be entirely different track hazards, like a volcano that randomly erupts, causing the entire track layout to change. Or maybe not if it doesn't erupt at all. Heck, if you want that full Mario synergy, you can even give each track a Wonder variant and really go nuts. Imagine Moo Moo Meadows but with giant cows. Or a Rainbow Road where random meteors smash into the track and break it apart. The potential ideas here are endless. Here's another idea. What if you could combine 3 different racetracks into one? You know, a little bit like how Super Smash Bros. Ultimate can transition between different stages. So what if each lap took place on a different track, with a warp pipe at the checkpoint line bridging the 3 different tracks? This could make for something that's fun and exciting with all the different possibilities, especially if you don't know what's coming next. But if they don't end up doing any of this, at the very least, I hope that they incorporate the idea of reverse tracks from Mario Kart Tour, which is perhaps the only thing I actually want from that game. I'm gonna be real, I hate the coins in Mario Kart. I hate getting them from iron boxes, I hate losing them anytime I get hit, and I really hate how it doesn't even feel like they really do much of anything even though they're actually quite important. And if it were up to me, I'd get rid of them entirely.
Delete, delete, delete.
But I think coins can be saved by giving them a more interesting purpose beyond a nearly imperceptible speed boost. Like being, you know, spent, as coins are known to do. So for example, what if you could cash in, say, 5 coins or so for a second bonus item whenever passing through an item box? This would probably work better assuming double item boxes are either removed or at least reduced in number, perhaps letting those act as a reward for going more off the beaten path. Or what if some item boxes guaranteed a particular item, like a star, but only if you can pay up front for it at a cost of, say, 10 coins? Heck, maybe some courses could even have a toll booth that permits access to a faster alternate route, but only for those who can actually afford the toll. And if you try to run it, well, you don't want these guys coming for you, do you? You could even use these coin-based elements to help rebalance the game, making everything more expensive for players in higher positions and cheaper for those near the back of the pack. And speaking of coins, there's one other thing we gotta change, and no, that wasn't a pun. First, we have to ditch the coins as the item you can get, because nothing on this planet feels worse than getting a set of coins when you're in first place and having no other way to defend yourself. Yeah, I know they're there for balancing reasons, but there has to be a better way of achieving that than by sending a giant screw you to first place. That rant aside, one of the main things the next Mario Kart needs is newer, fresher items. Mario Kart 8 introduced a mere 2, one of which is pretty darn rare, which means we've been playing with most of this roster for far longer than 10 years. And after being exposed to this set for so long, I need some new toys to play with. So here's a few ideas for starters. And how about we start with an actual toy, as in Mecha Koopas they can drop to patrol the track. Maybe they can even actively chase anyone that gets too close. Or how about an ice flower that lets you shoot ice balls and can freeze anyone for a couple of seconds until they break free? Or what about a Lakitu item that flies to the front of the pack and brings down a hailstorm of Spinies on the leading racers? Or, and this one might be my favorite, a Cappy item that lets you throw it in any direction to briefly take control of whichever racer it touches just before you pop out right ahead of them. Oh, I'm sorry, were you expecting a mock-up? Yeah, you better believe I spent way too long making one. Come on, you can't tell me that wouldn't be a lot of fun and maybe a little broken. Beyond that, I think Nintendo could tweak existing items to make them more interesting too. Like, what if you could use a mushroom boost to skip across the water's surface to reach a secret path? Finally, I'm all for keeping the double item slot for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But I beg you, Nintendo, please let us swap the 2 items like we could way back in Double Dash. It would add so much more interesting strategy to the gameplay, and allow for items to synergize in ways that can't reliably be done otherwise. Although, speaking of 2 item slots, what if we try something really crazy and new? Such as being able to fuse the 2 separate items into a single better one. Kind of like how Kirby can mix and match copy abilities in Kirby 64. Just imagine the possibilities. How about combining a red shell with a bomb to make a homing bomb? Or how about combine a piranha plant with a green shell to make a roaming piranha plant? Or combining two of the same item like two bananas to make a giant one? Finally, what if you could combine a boo with, say, a banana to make a boo-nana? Naturally, it would be invisible or at least harder to see, and you would steal the opponent's item if they run into it. The possibilities really are endless, and that's not even accounting for any new items too. Playing Mario Kart cooperatively is one of the best ideas the series has ever had. The only problem is that they only did this once, and then never again. And no, this doesn't count, nor does this, and not that one either. I'm talking true simultaneous co-op for the entire race, with one person driving and the other gunning. By splitting that job into two, it completely changes the overall dynamic, allowing both players to better focus on their own role first, while yelling at the other about how they should stop screwing up, Tom! I'm sorry everyone, that was very unprofessional of me, I'm just having PAX tournament flashbacks. Point is, it just makes everything way more fun and crazy and intense. And I think there's still a lot of untapped potential left in that very idea. Especially now that we're in the online era and everyone has their own screen. Meaning the gunner can now look behind them in order to better aim their shot. Or if you want to take it even further, the gunner can even have a full 360 degrees of control, allowing them to fire shells or bombs or whatever else in whatever direction they like. Kinda like how you could in that one Mario Kart arcade game that lightly flirted with the idea too. Oh, and if we introduce jumping to the game as I mentioned earlier, well that's just one more ability for the gunner to handle. Of course, co-op wouldn't be mandatory in any case, but it sure would be a fun way to mix things up every now and then. Especially for those who just prefer one half of the experience over the other. I'm already picturing being able to queue up online solely to be a gunner for whenever I want a slightly less sweaty evening. Playing Mario Kart single player feels pointless in the era of online gaming.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
But I don't think it has to be that way. We just need a good reason to. And I would love for nothing more than for Mario Kart to finally get a true single-player adventure, a la Diddy Kong Racing. You know, that game that came out nearly 30 years ago that still does some things better than Mario Kart? Such as by having an actual story. As in, some kind of justification as to why we're having all these races around the world. Like, maybe Bowser has some kind of evil plan or something of winning over the populace by impressing them through his raw kart racing skills. Look, it doesn't have to make sense, it just has to be fun. And as part of that, you'd better believe I want some kind of central hub that connects everything together. Imagine if every Grand Prix were its own mini-world, with all 4 racetracks existing in the same physical space, all being visible from each other. It could really flesh out the world in a way that no Mario Kart has except for Double Dash. And if they want to take a page from the old Mario Sports games on the Game Boy Color, they could even add an RPG-like sense of progression by allowing you to buy and upgrade different car parts as you go through the adventure. Furthermore, this would be a great opportunity to expand the gameplay beyond just racing. In fact, Mario Kart already toyed with the idea thanks to the mission modes found in Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart Wii, which featured unique challenges like boss races and the like. Just make that part of the story mode this time. Plus, I would love if there were hidden collectibles scattered around each stage, like the keys you could find in Diddy Kong Racing. When you think about it, it's almost a shame that Nintendo made all these gorgeous environments where you're too busy racing to really appreciate them. So having collectibles to search for would be the perfect excuse to slow things down and better appreciate the world around you. Okay, so thanks to Mario Kart Tour, the jury's still out on whether the next Mario Kart game will be Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart 10, if even either of those. But, assuming it is the latter, that opens the door to a fun branding opportunity. Because you know what else stands for 10? The Roman numeral X. And Mario Kart X not only sounds cool, not that we're biased or anything, but as just about every gamer knows, X also doubles as shorthand for crossover. As in, Mario Kart X could be all about bringing in characters and ideas from series outside of just Mario. Okay, now Mario Kart 8 did lightly dabble with the idea already by incorporating 3 other Nintendo properties, but there is so much more potential here. Especially because there's one big gameplay element that Nintendo's yet to do a crossover for, being to create new items based on those series. So let's quickly explore a few crossover ideas. Yeah, why not add Springman or Ribbon Girl to the roster, along with a new item that lets anyone use their super stretchy arms to grab opponents and yank them back, just before tossing them aside. Pikmin! How about being shrunk to the size of a quarter and racing through someone's abandoned backyard, while watching out for giant creatures of course, especially ones that become more active in the 3rd lap when the sun begins to set during the race. Yeah, we're gonna do what Sunset Wilds couldn't. And as for new items, how about a bundle of Pikmin that gives you 10 Pikmin to throw at other racers, with each one that latches on slowing them down a little bit more, and the only way to shake them off is by hopping violently. Kirby! Seriously, how did Kirby not make the cut the first time? He even had his own entire racing game, which could easily inspire a new course or two for Mario Kart. I'll take the one to the flying whales, please. And as for an item, well, how about a Kirby hat that lets you suck up a nearby racer and do this? 2 birds, 1 stone, Kirby. And those are just off the top of my head, as there are plenty of other Nintendo series that they could pull from, like Star Fox and Kid Icarus that we mentioned earlier. But how about we think even bigger? Like, what if Mario Kart finally went the Smash Bros. Route and incorporated third-party series too, even if it is just 1 or 2? Could you imagine racing alongside Solid Snake through Shadow Moses? Hell, they've even done the Double Dash thing too! Or, and this would be a big one, bring back Banjo-Kazooie! They already starred alongside Diddy in Diddy Kong Racing, and even had their own kart-like racer on the GBA. Hell, they've already even done the crossover thing in another kart racer! And if Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing can do it, then Mario Kart can too! And as for a potential item, why not a blue backpack that can swing around to deflect items or attack nearby racers? A little bit like the Tanuki tail from Mario Kart 7. So there you have it, my top ideas for how Nintendo could change up the next Mario Kart game, whether it be Mario Kart 9, 10, or something else. But whether or not any of my own ideas make the cut, I want one thing beyond anything else, and that's for the next Mario Kart game to surprise me. And hey, if it's something I haven't even thought of, even better. But what do you all think of my ideas? Let me know in the comments below, including what you hope to see yourself. And with that, make sure to click that subscribe button, ring the bell for more on the eventual next Mario Kart, and most importantly, thanks for watching! Until next time.